Today I'm going to be designing some jewellery using the beads in this little package. I'm always asked if I can share my design process, so today that's what I'm going to do. Hello, welcome, my name's Carol. As I said, I'm always asked by people, can I share my design process? And that is what I'm going to do today. I am going to just open this package that came from Softflex, and I'm going to use hopefully just the beads. I might need to use some extra supplies, but we'll see how we go, to make some jewellery. I have not seen what's in this package. I have no idea. So I'm going to let you inside my brain a little bit today, and we will see what happens. So let's get started. All right, so here's the package. This one is called Love Bug, and it's, as I said, it's from Softflex. It's their design challenge for January, and I'm a little bit late in getting this video done, but okay, that happens when you live on the other side of the world. Inside the package, ooh, some exciting things that look like Valentine's Day. Right, we have some pink Softflex. The colour is pink tourmaline. We've got some black faceted glass beads. We've got some little hearts that are very cute. Oh, I like these hearts. Those are very cool. All right, as well as that, I've got two bags here. I've got some crimp tubes in here. And what have we got in this bag? Let me see. We've got ladybugs and bees. So two red ladybugs, a bee and two white ladybugs, some ear wires, a clasp and a heart. And as well as that, I have this Jessie James Design Elements Love Bug pack. We have, how many of those? Four of those. They're beautiful. I've got two of these cubes. And I've got two of the pale pink cubes as well. Two of these cute little flowers. Oh, I know what I'm going to do with those. I've got two of these. What else have I got here? Some bigger black faceted beads. Oh, I've got a couple of little rosebuds here. Teeny tiny rosebuds. What else? Some red beads, some red, these look like red pearls they've got a little bit of a luster on them. They're not very sparkly. And I've got some of these ones, just faceted round beads or rondelles. I've got some of these rhinestone beads here. Those ones are gold with the rhinestones in the middle. Gosh, I'm making a mess, aren't I? And some of those, they are really gorgeous with their sparkle. And I've got some little bead caps, some little gold bead caps. I've got some of these rhinestone rondelles, some of those. Got some daisy spaces and these beautiful faceted rondelles, these two heart beads, and some gold stars. They're not quite stars actually, they are, but they've only got 4 points. All right, so let's organise these beads and see what we're going to make. It never ceases to amaze me how much value you get in these Softflex bead challenger kits. So what have we got? I'm thinking, well, first of all, I'm kind of thinking earrings to start with. I've got these hearts and I really, really like the hearts, and I'm kind of thinking, what if we did something like this? This may not work. We'll just see. And I may need some extra bits and pieces. But I'm kind of thinking, what if I put those in there like that? What if I used a little bit of chain to join them? Or no, maybe I just use some wire and a head pin at the bottom. Would that be too much? Yes, I think it would. But this looks, those are really long, but they're very, very cool. What do you think? Should we grab some wire and see what happens? This is a 22 gauge half hard wire. I will leave a link in the description box to a blog post which will contain a list of all the materials that I've used today and links to where you can buy them as well. Now the quickest and easiest way to make loops is to use my one-step looper, so I'm going to do that. So I have my one-step looper here. I'm going to make a loop in the end. And then just make sure it's closed. I need to cut some off, don't I? All right, now I think I will start with adding this bead here. Those have quite small holes. Or maybe it's just because my wire was bent. And I'm going to pop on, put it back into my looper and make another loop at the end. That was a terrible loop, look at that. I will fix that with my round nose pliers. Sometimes with the one-step looper that happens. Just twisting it round. Now, it's not a very good loop still. So I need to take it with my pliers and hold the loop, and I want to pull it back so that it's centered on the wire. There we go. Now the last thing I want to do is make sure that both of my loops are going in the same direction. So I'll take my 2 pairs of chain nose pliers. You can see they're actually going in opposite directions. So I'm just going to move my hand up so that both pairs of pliers are going the same way. So there's my first component. And I'm going to repeat that for this next one. So just taking some more wire, and I'm going to make a loop in the end just like before. Just making sure it's closed. And I'm going to put this little bead on. And I'm going to make a loop in the other end. Once again, what is it today? Terrible, terrible loop. Let's fix it. Some days are just like that. Some days you just cannot make a loop to save yourself, even when you use the brilliant tool. Now, if you haven't seen the one-step looper before, I'll leave you a link in the description box for a video all about how to use it. It is one of my favourite tools. I say one of, it's not my favourite tool anymore. It used to be, but the magical crimping plier has superseded the one-step looper. So there is my little component, or connector. Now I think I might do exactly the same thing actually, again with the heart. These are going to be quite long earrings, but I think they'll be kind of cool. Long earrings are really in at the moment. They're really, really on trend to wear really, really long earrings that come right down your neck. So why not? I've got my loop, and I'm going to thread it onto my bead on there and just make another loop at this end. So I thought I'd challenge myself in this, design challenge, because one challenge isn't enough to use almost exclusively these beads. I mean, I might need a few more, but I might not. We'll see. We'll see how we go. And just making sure that the loops are both going the same way on all of these components. And the reason you need the loops to be going the same way is so that it sits properly. So there is my little heart. And it's got an AB finish on one side and not on the other. How do we join these? I think we can just join them by opening the loops. I don't think we need a jump ring here. I think they will hang okay without a jump ring. So I'm going to take my little heart, my small one, I'm going to open the loop. And you open the loop, if you haven't done this before, by holding it on the side with your pliers and moving your hand down. Hopefully you can see that. And then I'm going to put on my little flower at the bottom and close that up. Then I'm going to open the top loop just in the same way. I'm going to thread on this one and close that up. Then I'm going to open the top one again and feed on the bottom loop of the big heart and close that up. So that's what I have. Now I'm going to do a test. I'm going to see what this will look like in my ear. It's actually not that long. I thought it would be worse. I thought it would be way down here, but it's actually not too bad. By the time I put an ear wire on, that will be quite a good length for me. So, should we add more? I don't think so. I think we'll leave it at that. Now, I need to decide, should I put on a black ear wire or should I put on a gold one? And I think I really need a gold one. I just don't think a black one's going to look right on there. So I'm going to grab a gold one. All right, I have here a pair of gold twist ear wires. And I think that will look way better than the black. So I'm going to open the loop on here, and the loop on these ones, the side that opens is the inside, so the side facing the hook, and grab it on the side and just open it the same way you do a loop. And then pop on my top loop of my earring and close that up. And of course, I need to repeat that for the other side. Now, when I was making my second earring, I ran into a little thing I wanted to talk to you about. With this one, I did my bottom loop first, and then I did my top, and I couldn't get close enough in there with my one-step looper to make my loop close enough. Can you see there? It's longer, and when I push it down, it's sitting down. So I'm actually going to undo that, and I'm going to do my top loop first. All these little tricks that I'm sharing hopefully will make your experience a better one. There's my earrings on. What do you think? I think they're quite adorable actually, and they go really well with my jacket, so I'm going to leave them on. They don't quite go with my necklace though. You might have to fix that. If you're interested in making this necklace, I have a tutorial on it, and I will leave that linked below, as well the bracelets that I'm wearing. I've got a green stretchy one on, I've got a purple stretchy one, and I have this one that I made in my 5 bracelets video, I think. So I'll leave you links to all of those videos below. Now I think next we need to make a necklace. So I'm going to grab my bead design board and have a play with the beads. Okay, now we've got so much, I just don't know where to start. I really feel like this has to be a focal. I just feel like I've only got one of them, and I think it should be a focal. And I'm wondering, because I've made the earrings with the hearts, maybe we should use those. And I kind of want to use the ladybugs as well, given that this was a ladybug. Oh, but the holes on the ladybugs go this way, and I'm not sure that will work. They might be better suited for a pair of earrings or something else, so I might leave those ones. These ladybugs, where are the holes? So the hole for that one, yes, it goes that way. So maybe we'll put these ones in. We'll see. We'll put them there for now. Should they be going up or down? Should they be climbing up my neck or down my neck? It's a hard question to answer. We'll throw in a couple of these here as well. It's very pink, very, very light, and I feel like it needs some contrast. I have got red beads, and I've got red in my earrings, so it might be quite useful to use those. Maybe I'll use these little hearts again. No, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Maybe these ones. Now I have to decide how I'm going to attach this heart as well. And these ones are stuck together. We'll just leave those alone. We'll grab another pair. Well, those look okay on either side of that. I don't really think I'm going to use these gold beads because I've got a silver heart And I'm not really a gold person. I made these with gold, but I'm not sure. But I do have the daisy spaces, which I need to use. Or maybe, I don't know. Ooh, big decisions. Maybe instead of that, this goes there. No, I don't like that. Maybe it goes there. Nope. This is what happens in my brain when I design a necklace. It's all over the place. I do like these ones here though. I feel like they could go in there. What if these two went right at the beginning here? Oh, big decisions. I've got these black hearts actually. I forgot about those. They might be quite cool to put in. I feel like they need to come down to the front more. What if instead of those, we put one of these on either side of the heart? Now I do need to figure out how I'm going to attach the heart, and I feel like I do need a connector. I feel like there needs to be something in the middle. Let me think about that for a minute while I carry on. So I think these ones, so we've got those pink beads and we've got these red ones, and maybe they could go there. I feel like my ladybugs are getting pushed out of the way. Do we like this without these beads in between, without any beads in between? I think I do. Maybe those could go there, and then our ladybugs, and then maybe one of those. Now if this is going to be a necklace, I need some fillers because this is not going to make a necklace. I've still got these that I could use, and I've still got the black ones. Ooh, what if I put some black ones in here? Actually, what if I put some black ones down here as well? I'll scoot all this up. The thing you have to be aware of is that you don't want it to look too messy. So if you use too many different beads, it can look really, really messy. And I don't want that. And I feel now like I've got all of this big stuff happening up here and none of it happening down here. Could be a long video. How long have we got? Maybe I do need to use some of these gold beads just to brighten it up a little bit. I'm missing a bead there. Scoot, scoot, scoot all the way down. Guess what I'm trying to say is I don't want it to look like there's no purpose for the beads, that they're just a big jumble of beads. And at the moment I feel like that's what it's looking like. These big pink ones do not belong. I don't feel like they belong there. But maybe these white ones would look better. This is so hard. I'm not even sure that these ones belong there. Maybe It feels a little better. It feels like it's more, this is the focal and then this is just more cohesive, but I still don't, I'm not feeling it. Not really, I just don't feel that it's working. I'm going to put that aside. I'm going to grab another beadboard and I'm going to have another play, because that's how you do it. You create your option, one option, and then you go on and create another option. That's how I work anyway. I'm going to put that aside for a minute and I'm going to grab another one. Take two. This is why you need lots of bead design boards. I really love these large pink beads. I feel like they could be very cool. Maybe this could be a bracelet. I don't know. I'm not sure that, oh, maybe they work. Do they work like that? Or if they had some little rondelles between. No, they look like wings. That doesn't work. Oh dear. I'm really stuck. Now this could be a bracelet. And bracelets, you know, they sit differently on your arm than a necklace. So let's try this. Kind of like where that's going. Not sure I like these beads on the other side of the ladybugs. No. These beads are very irregular shapes. They're not round, they're kind of oval, and they're quite different each bead, so that's quite interesting. It adds interest. Now, the thing with a bracelet, especially if I'm making a stretch bracelet, is you want the interest to be all the way around. Unlike a necklace where you can kind of have the back looking less interesting than the front. With a bracelet, you kind of want the interest all the way around. So I have to make sure that I work that in. So I'm going to put some of those there. No, that's too similar. What if I take these from my necklace and put them there? Now that will actually be the full length of my bracelet should I do that. Now I've got quite a nice little focal here. I like the ladybugs there. But do I take the hearts from here and put them here? Well, that's quite cool. I do quite like that. But then what do I do with my necklace without the hearts? So, big decisions to be made here. I think I'm going to go ahead and string up this bracelet on some stretch cord. We might put a little rondelle spacer at the end there. So I changed my mind. I don't think I will make a stretch bracelet. I think I'm going to be using this lovely soft flex to string my bracelet instead. So I'm going to take off that extra rondelle because I don't need that. And I also grabbed a jump ring and a wire guardian. So this is a wire guardian, and the reason I'm using this is so that the wire, the soft flex, will go up and around and it will stop the wire falling out of the jump ring. So my jump ring is a 6mm black jump ring. And there we go, and you can see it's not quite closed, so I'm going to take my 2 pairs of chain nose pliers and close it. If you haven't used jump rings before, I will leave you a link in the description box to a video all about how to open and close them, and all about them really. So I'm just taking my 2 pairs of chain nose pliers, one on either side, and I'm going to give it a little wiggle. It's not far off, so just a little wiggle to make sure that it is closed properly. So I'm going to take my soft flex and I'm going to cut a piece of soft flex. I love this soft flex. It is amazing. It feels beautiful. It is nice and soft and it's very flexible and it just feels lovely. And this one is a, let me see, it is a 49 strand and it is 0.48mm or 0.19 of an inch in diameter, which means it's a medium soft flex. I did a talk just recently with my private group here on YouTube, which if you are interested in joining, there's a join button in the description box, no, sorry, above the description box below. I did a talk all about wire with them just a little while ago, and it was a really interesting talk. Well, I think it was filled with useful information. I think they did too, and I hope they got a lot out of it. I'm going to put a bead stopper on one end so my beads don't fall off, and I'm going to just start stringing my beads. Now, personally, I find it easier if I actually turn my beadboard on the side. It just helps me to get them going in the right way, but that's entirely up to you. All right, so just stringing my beads on. I'm not sure about those two big beads close to the clasp either. Now, the thing with bracelets is that you'll see here, the bracelet that I'm wearing, this clasp is on the side here, and realistically it should be down there. It's about balance, and balancing a bracelet so that the clasp stays down when you're moving your arm around is a little bit of a challenge. I'm kind of hoping that these bigger beads will, being close to the clasp, might give it balance, but we'll see. Someone asked me that question last week, how to balance a bracelet so that it doesn't, the clasp isn't always at the top. And it's really about trial and error and learning. It's a really hard question, and I didn't have a definitive answer. All right, I have my beads strung and I need to try it to make sure it's going to fit me, which if I bring it around like this, it's about, actually it might be slightly too big, we'll see. Oh no, I think it's about right by the time I get the clasp on there. It could be a little bit big. I might take those two big ones off actually. I just feel like it's too big, and that kind of screws up my balance, doesn't it? So I've got a choice to make. Do I take, I quite like having these two big square beads, but I'm wondering if I should exchange them for these ones. So take all of that off, put these ones there, and then put a black one on either side. I hope you understand what I'm talking about. Let's try that. So we'll take that one off and put this one on. Actually, I think I like that better. Let's do that. Switch my bead stopper to the other end. Take these off. And put those ones back on. Let's try it now, see if it fits better. I do like my bracelets to be reasonably tight because otherwise they do fly around a lot more. Now the question is it going to be too small? My clasp will take up about 1 centimetre. I think I'm going to try it and see. I think it's pretty good. And this beading wire is so cool, the colour, that it doesn't really matter if you see it a little bit because you're going to see it anyway. Now I have two options. I could have put my clasp on with a jump ring, or I could put it directly through. I think I'll put it directly through today. So I'm going to take one of these, or a couple of these crimp tubes. I do like the Soft Flex crimp tubes. They are very nicely shaped. They don't tend to have any burrs on them. So the first thing I'm going to do is pop on a crimp tube. And then I'm going to put my Soft Flex through my clasp, and then I'm going to bring it back down through my crimp tube. All right, and just pull everything up. Now you do not want it, I've pulled it too tight because my clasp is, see how it's sticking up like that. I want it to be able to move around. I'm going to pull it back a little bit. You just need to give it a little bit of room, otherwise it will be stiff and horrible and it won't work. And I'm going to take my magical crimping plier and give it a squeeze in the front divot there. And then I'm going to turn my wire around and give it another squeeze. And I might need to do that several times until my crimp tube looks like a lovely round bead. If you haven't seen the magical crimping pliers before, I will leave you a link in the description box to a video all about those as well. And that is my favorite tool. There is my crimp tube, and as you can see it looks like a bead and it's held there nice and firmly, so that's what we want. It's not going anywhere. And I want to run my beads up. Now I might cut off, I've got quite a long tail there, I might cut off a little bit of it. So that is what that looks like with its clasp on. Now I'm going to do the other end. I'm going to put on my crimp tube. Then I'm going to put on my wire guardian. So the wire comes up one side and back down the other side. Like that. And then we will put this end back. No, before we do that, we need to put on our jump ring, and that wants to sit inside the wire guardian. And then we go back down through the crimp tube. So that's what we're aiming for. But of course I have to pull everything up. So I'm going to take my end and I'm going to thread it through 2 beads. Some people don't like to do this. I do. I feel like it tucks that little end away a little bit better. Right, so as you can see, everything is, there's a huge gap, so I just need to pull everything down. Now, it's not pulling. Yes, it is. Okay, it made a liar out of me. So we just want to pull it until it is in about the right position for me to be able to crimp. So that's what I have now. Now I'm going to take my crimping plier and crimp. In the process of that, I actually managed to squeeze my wire guardian closed a little bit, which was a good thing. There we go, that's what we have. Now I'm going to trim off my end. Getting in there nice and close. And there's my bracelet. Let's see if I can put it on. Okay, there's my bracelet. And it feels pretty secure. It doesn't actually, it feels really well balanced. So it doesn't actually feel like it's going to move around. So that's good. That's good indeed. Now I'm left with this necklace. And did I steal some of the beads? I think I did. I think I'm just going to string it. The only thing I'm not sure about actually are these pink beads. I feel like they're not right. And so maybe some of these little hearts might work better. This is taking on a mixed metal effect because I'm using gold and silver, which is very, very trendy right now. I do feel like my ladybirds at the back there are not right. They should be further forward. So where do I put them? Pop them there. Maybe they should be here. Yep, I like them better there. Okay, so we're going to put that there, and then that one can go there, making sure it's going the right way. What if I don't use the ladybirds? What if instead I use just the one little bee? Would that be too distracting? What if I use a ladybird and a bee? I feel like the ladybird, it's not quite blending with the rest of the necklace. So I'm going to take it out and I'm going to not use the ladybirds. And I don't have any more of these rondelles, but instead of the ladybirds, I could use another heart and another black bead. Or I could move that one down here. The necklace doesn't need to have the same things on either side. Just because that's almost always the way it's done, it doesn't have to be that way. It can be asymmetrical. So actually, what if I did that? I like that so far. Now it's not long enough. Why don't we just add some more of these black beads? These two are stuck together, so sometimes beads come stuck together just like that, and sometimes you can just cut them apart with your cutters. Now I'm still left with the one issue of this, how I'm going to attach it. It needs to be there because otherwise it looks weird. I mean, I could put, that would work. What if I put that underneath that? No, because either it goes in that way and the hole goes that way, or it goes in that way and I attach it to there, but then how do I attach it to there? Does that make sense? Because the holes don't go both ways. Because that would look kind of cool with that dangling down. But how do I attach it if I was to do that? Oh, I've got an idea. Let's try this. Let's take a piece of wire. I really don't know if this is going to work. I'm going to make a bend in my wire. Just going to move this out of the way for a minute so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to make a wire wrap loop. So I've made my bend in my wire and I'm going to take my round nose pliers and tuck them into there. Now if you haven't made a wire wrap loop before, I can leave you a link in the description box to a video on how to do that in much more detail than I'm going to do now. And then holding that in my pliers there, I'm going to just wrap that wire around a couple of times and trim off the end. And just tuck that little tail in. Now if I put this bead on here, I'm really thinking out loud here, and I leave a bit of space. What I'm thinking is that how do I attach this? So I could do it with several things. I could use a little bit of chain. That would be kind of cool. Or I could use a piece of wire. I think the chain idea is the best one. I happen to have a whole pile of little chain ends in my drawer. So, oh, these are all tiny pieces. Are they going to work? It's whether or not that is going to be long enough. I think it is. Now I'm going to need a jump ring as well, so I'll grab a jump ring. So we'll put on to this wire, we will put on 2 pieces of chain, so 1 piece, 2 pieces, I'm assuming they're the same length, which they are. And then I'm going to put on my little heart and close up that jump ring. There's an issue, always. See how my heart's hanging? I actually want it to hang the other way, don't I? So what I need to do is put on another jump ring. So I'll just reverse all of that. Taking my jump ring apart. And I'm just going to take off my heart. And I'm going to close my jump ring. I should have known that, but that's okay. So taking another jump ring, feeding on my heart, feeding on the jump ring I just attached the chain to, and closing that up. So there we go. Now my heart is going to hang the right way. Next, what I'm going to do is attach another jump ring. Should I use a jump ring? That's a good question. Maybe I'll just thread this piece of chain onto my wire there, and this one on the other end. So that's what I'm working with. I kind of like that. I think it's kind of cool. All right, so now we're going to make a wire wrap loop on the other end. So just taking my chain nose pliers, and I need to leave a bit of space for my wrapping. So I'm going to put my pliers right hard up against the chain, and I'm going to make a bend. Then I'm going to take my round nose pliers and pop them in there, wrap the wire around, turn my pliers and pull my wire back. Then I'm going to hold my loop in my chain nose pliers and wrap that end around. Just twice, whoops, went flying. And now I'm going to trim off my end of my wire. It's just getting everything else out of the way. And my end, tuck my end in. Now that looks like a pretty cool focal to me. So let's go and string some beads on. I think I will use the Wire Guardian again. Actually, no, I'm not going to, because these are wire wrapped loops. So I don't need to do that. The only thing I do need to do, and I'm looking at it now, is that my loops both need to be going the same way. So just grabbing my loop in my chain nose pliers, grabbing my other loop in the chain nose pliers, and it's just slightly off. There we go. Righty. So now I'm going to get some soft flex and I'm going to string up this other end. Now I think I'll put a silver clasp on, simply because I've got silver down here and it will bring the silver up to the back. So I need to grab one of those, and I'll need another jump ring. Okay, so it's taking some of my soft flex, and I need enough to go around that side of my necklace, plus quite a bit more for working. I like to leave myself plenty of room. And then I am going to pop my bead stopper on one end. And I need to put on a crimp tube. And the loop of my component that I just made. I could have used a silver crimp tube here actually, but I'm going to use what I've got. I said I would use as fewer other ingredients or materials than that I could, so that's what I'm doing. Okay, so I've threaded my wire through my crimp tube twice and through the loop, so that's what that looks like. Now I'm going to crimp it. And the cool thing about these magical crimping pliers is that because your crimp tube looks like a bead, you don't need to cover it. If you were using another form of crimping, I would suggest putting a crimp cover on here. But because I'm using my magical crimping pliers, I don't need to do that. And I also test my crimp tubes when I've done them, just to make sure. And you can do that just by pulling it. Just string my beads, and I just need to make sure that my hearts are going the right way for this side, and obviously my bumblebee goes the right way for the other side as well. Just run the beads down, but make sure that tail tucks inside those first few beads. Okay, so this one, the hole in this black heart is too small, so I'm actually going to trim my tail and just pop it inside that red bead, just to hide it. There we go. Okay, I'll go ahead and string the rest of the beads. Now I have the first side of my necklace all strung, and I'm quite liking how it's looking, but I'm going to do the second side, and then I'm going to decide if it's long enough or if it needs adjusting. So I'm going to repeat what I did on this side with this side. So taking another piece of soft flex, and as you can see, I am pretty liberal with my soft flex when I'm stringing my beads, just because it makes it easier to crimp them if you have plenty. So feeding on my crimp tube, feeding it through the loop of my wire wrap loop that I made before, and going back down through the crimp tube again. And crimping it. And I didn't leave a long tail that time because I knew that it wasn't going to go through that heart anyway, so I figured I'd just leave it like that. And now I'm going to string on these beads. Just make sure that your heart and all of your hearts and your bumblebee are going in the right direction. I put my bumblebee going up. I felt that was better than going down. Oh, I've just realized my bumblebee, actually the hole goes the other way. So he's gonna have to go this way. Does it still work? We'll see. See, things to check. When you're designing a necklace, I didn't think about it. I assumed that because the ones that I used to have flew from his tail to his head, that these ones did as well, and they didn't. So now my beads are all strung. What I need to decide, well, I need to make sure is that both ends are the same length, which I think mine are. They could be one bead out. I'm just going to make sure. If they are one bead out, I'll just add something. Actually, they're more than one bead out. So, oh no, it's just the way I'm holding it. Yep, one side is one bead shorter than the other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these red beads, I'm going to take this one off, I'm going to put a red bead, and then I'm going to put that black one back on. Just because I don't think the two black beads together look right with then a red bead. That looks better. Now my bumblebee is sitting inward. I think it looks all right. I would have preferred him if he had a hole up through his belly and through from top to bottom instead of through the middle, but that's okay. We're good with it now. So now I need to attach my clasp to this end. Because I'm right-handed, I need my clasp on my right-hand side. So if I have a look at him like this, I can see that my bee is on my right-hand side, so I need to put my clasp on that side. Just makes it easier for me to do up. So to do that, I am going to put my crimp tube on. When I'm making a necklace, I always use a jump ring to attach my clasp. And the reason for that is just recently, if you saw my pearl choker tutorial, you will have noticed that my clasp actually broke, and I could take off my old clasp and put on my new clasp because I had used a jump ring. So from that moment on, I vowed and declared I would always attach a clasp with a jump ring. I didn't do it on my bracelet because it's not such a big deal when you break a bracelet, but restringing a whole necklace is something different. So first I'm going to take my jump ring and I'm going to open it and pop my clasp on. So just opening my jump ring, feeding on the loop of my clasp and closing my jump ring. And I want to make sure it's nicely closed as well. We don't want anything falling out of it. So there's my clasp with its jump ring attached. Then I'm going to feed that on. Actually, I'm going to put a wire guardian on. So I'll pop that on first, up just like with the bracelet, up through one side, back down through the other. And I'll pop my jump ring on there. I could have used a silver wire guardian here, but I already had the black ones out, so just made it easier. And then back down through my crimp tube and through that first couple of beads. I'm having the same problem with the red pearls, that the wire won't go through, so that's okay. Now when you're stringing a necklace or a bracelet and you're putting a clasp on, you want to make sure you've still got plenty of room for it to move. You don't want to pull it too tight because that's when it will be all stiff and horrible, and you don't want that. So just make sure that you've got a little bit of space. Okay, I'm going to now take my crimping pliers and crimp it. So one squeeze, turn it, and another squeeze, and sometimes I have to do that 3 or 4 times with this crimping ply, but that's okay, until I get it nice and firm and it looking like a bead. Now I'll just trim off my end. Now also just giving the wire guardian a little bit of a squeeze. So there you go, there is my clasp on, and I want to repeat that on the other side, except I'm going to leave the clasp off. If you haven't strung a necklace before, I will leave you a link in the description box to a video on how to restring a vintage necklace. I think that was probably, I think I covered all the steps really well in that one, I hope. So there's my clasp. There's my necklace. I am not sure about the bumblebee, to be honest. I'm not sure that he's going to stay looking the right way, but I'm going to wear it for a little bit and see what I think. I'd really love to know what you think of this necklace and bracelet and earrings that I made from the Softlex pack. So leave me a comment in the comment section below. Also, if you've enjoyed this one, it would be wonderful if you'd hit that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up, and also hit that notification bell. Thank you so much for watching today. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you again soon.